Oh, sorry.
And how will you know what to cut? Like when it comes to the high,
Because
for example.
normally it's more, um, for example, if 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 you want to go for this kind of track, it's you need to have a blend between cutting some but not too much, because then you will get into the dub kind of feel. So if you cut too much high, it's very dubby. If you cut a bit more, it gets a bit more underground. If you leave it open, it gets into that poppy vibe.
I see.
So listen, for example,
So
just listen.
all your hats, you cut the top?
Not all, but
Not all.
it depends on the sound, depends on the hi-hat. If
Exactly.
it's kind of, if it's
Exactly.
cut already, then you don't want to cut it too much that it's not gonna sound, you know what I mean, anything. But for example, get the feeling from this, and then get the feeling from removing it. You see, it's more kind of Christmassy, it's more open, it's more happy. With this, it's more underground, you know. So it's just a hi-hat, but in reality, if you
It adds up.
it
All of it
adds up,
together.
you know, because if you, for example, the clap,
And you took off the high. You took off the highs from it as well,
as
right?
a
At least that's what I heard.
tara, you see,
You can see the EQ over there, or you can see a small version of the EQ
as a,
on Logic.
you see. It's very small. It's a very small detail, but it makes a big difference because um, when you play the whole track all together, all that frequency is when it adds up becomes a lot of noise that you don't
Yes.
really want. With the bass, yes, because you can hear it really, really well. You know, it's kind of one of the most prominent part, so it's very easy to kind of hear. But with the highs, sometimes people tend to forget about it. But
Very true. Like everyone says, like on everything, really, cut out the low, cut out as much low as you can before the sound is not how you like it anymore. But they never
exactly,
talk about cutting the highs, especially
and
on hi hats. Like I never saw it like the highs being cut, but it's true. It makes
it
it
makes
makes
a
it
big
can finely
difference.
tune it more.
Exactly. Um, and
Obviously, you
then
can't cut too much. You have to cut
no,
a
no,
little.
no, exactly. You just need to cut just a bit.
Uh,
So, for example, with this one, with the bongos work, I didn't cut anything because
no, on the high.
yeah, because I wanted, I
Exactly.
wanted. The thing is, you need to also find the balance between um, cutting and leaving it as natural as possible. Because sometimes putting a lot of delay, reverb, and EQing, it becomes unnatural and becomes computerized.
The delay, you leave it constant throughout the track or you automate it.
It depends. So, for example, with this one, I left it throughout all the track with the conga, for example. But the amount is very low. For example, you see it's like 2 and 5%. So it's very, very low. It's just to get that little bit of detail like at the bottom, you know? And then there's, for example, um, then there's this one. I don't know if you can hear it.
Quite can hear it. Tambourine, like.
Exactly, it's a tambourine, and I penned it this. I penned it on the far
Hard
left.
left, hard left.
Exactly. So it's kind of going there. You know what you can do as well is double it
And put another one
and put
on the
another
right, for
one
example.
as a
Far right.
and far right. And
All right.
this way, it's, 1 second. You will hear the difference. So this is with 2, and this is with 1. You see, it's more spread. It's spread more. You feel.
It is stereo, this.
Yes, mela.
It is. Let me see, put it with 1 only again. I'm hearing it on both this. I don't think it's stereo.
Maybe all right. Maybe because
Zoom is in stereo.
That. Maybe that. All right. But yes, it's you can hear it on one side and then you can hear it on the other side. And this way, you can, for example, in a club or in an environment, you can hear those little details really on the far back side of the track. Now, with regards to this is the. I'm going to play one part of the track.
This is your latest one,
Exactly. This is the one that I just finished now. So then, what I normally do is, first of all, I start also with the bass. So the bass is a very normal ES1 for Logic. It's ES1 plugin. It's a London bass. It's
a preset.
A preset, but modified quite a lot. When you play it, you won't really find it like this. But I like it because it's very.
Sound like?
I'll show you.
How are the notes?
The notes are with an arpeggiator.
All right.
And linear, you see, one note, and arpeggiator going up and down.
D sharp, check.
Exactly. And you see, it's already driving just.
Obviously, there's sidechain on it, which I wanted to ask you. The drums, they have sidechain on them, the hats and the percussion.
These ones, no. What I do is, I tend to like to sidechain just the bass with the kick, and then yes, that's my trick. But
not even the melody, not even.
No, because I try to kind of have everything as flat as possible.
I see.
And then just get the groove from the kick and the bass. That's kind of my style. Maybe someone else would prefer other things, but that's me.
You would have tried obviously sidechaining everything, and
yes,
like how it comes.
Exactly. What I didn't like about sidechaining other parts is the fact that it gets a bit too robotic. So I tend to try to leave it. I like the natural.
To process.
Exactly. So I tend to work on something, but keep in mind the natural part of it. So keep it as natural as possible, as if you're kind of playing drums in a band.
Live.
Exactly.
There'll be no sidechain live.
Exactly, because I think people can receive that perception that something can be a bit too computerized or not. And sometimes there are people that love it, they're really into that kind of computerized sounds with synths and everything. And the more computerized the sound is, the more freaky and the more they love it. But
style.
Exactly. For me, it's I like the more natural thing. So that's basically why I try to keep everything as simple as possible.